Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jade from Calgary, Alberta. I'm a small business strategist, influencer, and brand builder. My passion is helping small businesses grow and succeed. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started the Facebook Live, Telling It Like It Is. It is a live broadcast, so if you have any questions, please put them up there. If you see this after the fact, we will be able to answer them as well. I'd like to thank Healthy Heart Sleep Company, Calgary's premier sleep apnea CPAP company, for sponsoring this conversation. They are locally owned, have been for 11 years, and they have 2 locations. Today's Telling It Like It Is guest is Mike Patriquin, the co-founder and general manager of Hell's Basement Brewery. PQ, thanks for joining me, and how are you today?
I'm doing quite well. How are you doing?
Oh, it's a beautiful Wednesday. It's sunny out, and we're talking beer. So how can it not be a good day?
The sun is shining, so that means it's beer drinking weather.
It sure is. I know I like to focus on networking and connecting people, and I like sharing the story of how you and I met. I know we met 3 years ago when we won nationals down in Medicine Hat, but then we were also through your brother-in-law Neil Robertson, who's been on this show with his company Platoon Fitness. So I guess it's now a family affair.
Yeah, awesome. That was a funny story. I still remember you rolling up to the field in your minivan. I think you were on a family vacation.
We were.
You stepped out of the minivan, no warm up, and you crushed the crushed the Grand Slam, I believe.
Yeah, it was. People still talk about that rolling in from the lake, step up to the semifinals, first pitch, and it's gone.
Yep, gone.
You gotta love it. I'll live in infamy. It could be the only hit I ever had in my life, and it's never no one's gonna forget it.
That's right.
I'll give a brief introduction here, and then we'll get at her.
Sure.
After spending 15 years as a research economist with the government of Canada and a few years after as a consultant, Mike is a recovered bureaucrat turned to craft beer entrepreneur. He's the founder and general manager of Hell's Basement Brewery in Medicine Hat that is set to turn 3 years old this August. He's a dog lover and an avid fly fisherman, or at least he was before the booming craft scene swallowed him whole. I love that introduction. Oh my goodness. So I first had your guys' beer, as I mentioned, 3 or so years ago in the Medicine Hat, and it is absolutely unbelievable. And obviously it's a growing market, and we were kind of discussing this a little bit before. So, why and how did you want to get into the craft beer business?
Well, I think that's that intro is a pretty accurate description. I'm a recovering bureaucrat. So I spent a bunch of time with the government, used to be clean cut, clean shaven, doing math every day kind of thing. But I needed to do something tangible. I wanted to build something. I wanted to produce something. And I don't know. I have a knack for that sort of thing, I guess. So how I ended up in beer, I'm not entirely sure. Fate, I guess. I am a beer lover, so it kind of made sense, right?
Yeah.
But it was really like making something, and it just happened to be beer.
So is it just a bunch of you guys kind of sitting around in the hat saying, hey, this is a good idea. It's a growing market. We can, let's throw some money together and see what we come up with? And
yeah, I think like once the government removed that minimum production rule that they had, there was kind of there was a lot of interest in the craft market, and we were among them. So I moved to Medicine Hat for my wife's work. Okay. And I was just consulting from home at the time, and I was working on a business plan for a brewery through another business. And through our local sort of craft-oriented liquor store down at Trackside Liquor, I got to talking with the owner there, and he mentioned that there was another group in town that had tried to start a brewery and ran into some roadblocks, and that they might be good people for me to meet. We ended up meeting at his beer fest that he sponsors in Medicine Hat in October of 2015. And we kind of hit it off. Turns out one of the other guys, we had mutual friends from university. So there was kind of a natural connection, and I had a business plan ready to go. They had more money than I did, so I didn't want to compete with them, right? So we kind of hit it off, and a year later we had a brewery built, and we were open and operating. So it was a pretty quick process. We may have set like a land speed record in Alberta for building breweries, because I think we were up and operating within 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so pretty quick.
That is pretty quick. How did you come up with the Hell's Basement name? Is there a story behind that?
Yeah, there sure is. So it's a pretty famous quote from Rudyard Kipling, who's the author of the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
And he was traveling across Canada and was in the Medicine Hat area. And they were digging for coal at the time, and they would hit pockets of natural gas and didn't know what to do with it back then. So they would just set it on fire and flare it off. And so he literally saw a fire shooting out of the ground and described the area as having all hell for a basement. So that's where Hell's Basement comes from. We think it's a really great brand because it has super local relevance to a lot of people. Yeah. Not just in Medicine Hat, in all of Alberta. Yeah. But it has a universal appeal. So we get requests for our logo and labels and stickers from all over the world because people just love the logo, right?
Oh, absolutely. I should have a whole bunch up in my garage and that too. So I mean, I love it. I think your branding is absolutely fabulous and second to none when it comes to that in the craft beer or any, even if you're looking at the larger guys. I think it's just absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, and it's super interesting because all the advice that I got was to use a big beer branding company to develop logos and brand consistency and stuff like that. But we decided to go with a local designer here in Medicine Hat, Amy Gervais from Rapscallion Design, and she's just done a fantastic job.
Absolutely, kudos to her.
Happy with it. Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. So speaking of brands, I mean, how have you been dealing with the big boys? Getting space in whether it be the liquor stores or the grocery stores, or against more established craft brewery brands.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge right now, especially because there is a flood of new breweries coming every day here in Alberta. It's kind of an open market free-for-all in Alberta right now, and there are a ton of new breweries coming down the pipe here. I think there's 50 more slated in Alberta this year alone already.
Wow.
And something like 100 breweries operating now, or 100 manufacturers operating now. Last numbers I heard, there was 50 breweries alone in Calgary, which is great, but it's also a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
It's tough to get shelf space. We're finding that as the craft market grows itself, there's certain stores and bars and licensees that are popping up that are sort of dedicated to craft and specifically Alberta craft. So they're interested in carrying those products. One of the unique things about that craft specific focus is everybody's always kind of looking at what's new and what's next, right? Yeah. So there isn't the same kind of brand loyalty in the craft world that there is in sort of the mega beer world. So people might latch onto our brand and say, hey, I've never had a bad Hell's Basement beer. I'm going to try this next one. But they might not stick with that same style from us over and over again, right? So we're constantly looking at producing new things, which can also be a challenge for the stores because they're used to like buying one SKU and just having that replaced and refilled all the time, right?
Yeah.
Whereas we keep throwing new products at them and keeping them on their toes, right, to find us more shelf space. But it's definitely a challenge, especially in I guess the less crafty stores, so the more mega beer oriented stores. But we find like we're pretty small. We don't really need to focus on those big stores. Yeah, we can focus on our niche and do quite well just with that.
No, and that's excellent. And I know you guys have a really strong marketing strategy, obviously on social and again with your stickers and your brand and your hats and stuff. So, I mean, what has been some of your marketing strategies, and maybe share something that has succeeded and maybe even one that's failed?
Man, I don't know if we have a strategy.
Strategy is no strategy. That works.
Beer in the people's mouths and let them decide, right? But no, you're right. We've largely just focused on social media because it's free and it's super powerful.
Yeah.
We've tried other stuff. We've tried print media. We've tried radio ads, and nothing compares to the social media, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing we do is participate in all the big beer fests.
Yeah.
So whether it be the Alberta Food and Beverage Expo or Alberta Beer Fest, we just had the Calgary International Beer Fest. What was that, last weekend or 2 weekends ago now?
Yeah.
That's the biggest beer fest in Canada, and the exposure you get from that is incredible because you're actually in front of the customers. You can show them the product. A lot of them are taking pictures of it with their cell phones now because they get too drunk to remember what they had. But that's really it. Like, just getting in front of the customers. We found that if we just sell the product to the stores, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Because the next step is getting it from the store to the customer, right?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, that was even when we had the Nathan's. I mean, it was so important to get the person to taste the product and the quality of it, because once they realize that it's just not another product and it's something special, then you got them hooked.
Yeah. And there's also, in the craft world, there's what I'll call collectors, right? So the ones that want to try every new beer and put it on Untapped or rate beer or whatever, right? Like, they want to do their check-in and they want to collect that they've tried that beer and rate it. So it's important to get in front of those people too, because they will literally try anything new. And they're a great crowd to have because you know it's like a base support, right?
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. So I guess, I mean, is it, because you said there's so many craft breweries out there, and obviously 50 more possibly coming in the next year or so.
Yeah.
Is it competition? Is it like you guys bat heads, or is it a pretty close knit community?
I gotta tell you, it's an industry unlike any other in terms of the way people cooperate. Sorry. Neil's making me laugh here.
Yeah, I see that. I have to post that up there just because it's just.
Yeah, like, this industry is unlike any other industry. The level of cooperation and collaboration that happens is incredible. Everybody knows everybody in the Alberta industry. It's like a small family. We have our Alberta Small Brewers Association, where once a year we all gather and make a beer together, release it, and that helps fund the association. And it's also just incredible networking, right?
Yeah.
You can learn success stories and horror stories from other breweries, and it's a really genuine industry. And we're not typically after each other's taps. We're not after each other's shelf space. We're trying to grow the whole craft market because it is still a burgeoning market.
Yeah.
And we're really going after the bigger brands, trying to get their space.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Knock the big guys out. That's for sure. That works better. So I guess, speaking of that, what is next for Hell's Basement? Are there grand plans to go national, or are you going to try and just really corner the Alberta market? What's your next steps?
I think we've got a lot of growth potential still in Alberta. The other thing about craft beer is that it is meant to be fresh and local. So when you start to look at crossing borders, there's regulatory hoops and all kinds of government red tape that's in the way. But there's also shelf life issues there, right? So the further you get from your base brewery, the longer a shelf life you're going to need. And it kind of starts to get away a little bit from that craft focus on fresh and local.
Yeah.
So I think Western Canada's in our sights, but I'm not sure that beyond that would be in our sights right now, for sure. Saskatchewan just makes sense for us because we're so close. People are driving here from Saskatchewan all the time anyway to come visit the brewery. So that's a natural next step.
Well, that makes sense. Easy step, nice and close. Not a whole lot of extra shipping costs.
Yeah,
that's for sure. So, I guess I don't know if it's. I mean, I know we talked a little bit. There are some hoops to jump through beforehand, but hopefully those become a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, really, right now Alberta is the only free market in Canada, so we can't just take our product to Saskatchewan. We have to get government approval or do it through special ordering. Yeah, things like that. So it's not just a matter of wanting to do it. There's all kinds of approvals that have to happen. And I know the governments are working on it. They're trying to free up those borders. But right now it's definitely an issue, and it's an issue that the Small Brewers Association is focused on.
Well, that's good. And is that association obviously relatively strong? And do they have good support from you guys?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think most of the players in Alberta are members, or at least the ones that are, big enough to afford to be a part of it.
Yeah,
are members, and we're all working towards that common goal of just freeing up trade barriers and making great products.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome. And I forgot to mention earlier, below is a link to the website, so you can just click on in the comment section, and away you go. You'll be able to look at their stuff there. Is any of your swag on the website?
You know what? We just took down our online store because we found it wasn't working very well. But anybody's welcome to contact the brewery, and we can send pictures of the swag we have and process it through our point of sale in the tap room here. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, James made a nice little comment there for us.
Oh, that's a beauty. Yeah. Angel tears. I love it.
Hey, well, that's good that people are watching here and they understand what it is. So the one question I end on with all my entrepreneurs is, if you had one piece of advice to give, small business entrepreneurs or startups, PQ, what would it be?
Oh, I think from our perspective, being a small business, you have to remain flexible. It's one of the strengths of being a small business. But you have to find a balance with that and also sort of sticking to your plan. So, we got all excited in the beginning and we started making, I think we did 30 different beer styles in our first year. And our plan was to make 4. So just finding a balance between maintaining flexibility and sticking to your original plan, I think, is an important thing. And then it's just persistence. Yeah. Any new business, there's that financial burden for the first 5 years, right? And just, you got to ride it out and be persistent and grow your business.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's I have this conversation a lot with people, and sometimes money is hard to come by. So you're going to have to really prioritize what you're going to spend it on and how you're going to spend it, because once it's gone, it's gone. It just doesn't grow on trees, and it is such an important part of making sure that you survive long term.
Yeah, and everybody's going to make mistakes along the way, right? So it's a matter of how you get back up and recover from those mistakes.
Oh, and I know you're probably shocked to hear this, but I still make mistakes. I know it's
what? Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
I make mistakes every day, but you gotta just fix them and move on, right?
Exactly. I hope I learn from them.
Yeah, exactly.
I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the Hell's Basement story. I mean, the craft brewery, there's so many people that are passionate about it in this province and even this country. So that's I appreciate you sharing the story. I think it's a great story, and I wish you guys all the best. And we will be serving it at our baseball tourney this year too. So
awesome, sounds good. Thanks for having us, and keep your eye on Alberta Beer Fest tonight, because I think they're announcing the award winners from the Calgary International Beer Fest tonight.
Ooh, now definitely keep that.
Hopefully we got something.
Let's hope so. And again, a special thank to Healthy Heart Sleep Company for sponsoring this. They have 2 locations in Calgary. They are the premier sleep apnea company, and CPAP for accessories. So again, thank you for joining us again, Mike. And I hope everybody has a great day. And we'll look at Neil got one more comment in before we can go. So, all right. Appreciate it, Mike. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.